Again. Ready? So guys, when you're feeling a little bit dizzy and your legs are a little bit wobbly and you need a little bit of TLC and some stability, who do you turn to? So, good morning, Sunday morning. We're out breaking boundaries on the park again. So we're probably going to get into trouble this week because this is the second time we've been on the park. But Shiloh, it's not my kid crying, but should I check? No, it's not my. Oh, that's the problem, innit? It's not my kid crying, so should I go? But I've got my kid to deal with, so her mum's there. It's fine. So, you going again, Shiloh? Anyway, guys, I've got a psychological assessment to go through again, which is going to fail me yet again because it's not being done by the it's not being done by the EDS community, it's not being done by the Asperger's community, it's not being done for the benefit of my healing and understanding, and it's certainly not going to be done from my experience of everything that's gone on. It can only tick the boxes from the paperwork that they work through. So I'm going to be coming harder, faster and public about why this system is so going wrong and how they are actually failing to support and help families when it is nothing more than paperwork gathering and finding some form of grounds to go to court. And at the end of the day, it's my healing, it's my trauma. It was caused by Flintshire County Council by them saying that EDS is the easiest condition to claim to have, because we are active families and I refuse to sit in a wheelchair, wear braces and take medication. So, so anyway, this is going to be the biggest battle of my life right now. And this isn't even about whether or not they would assist to remove my kids from me. This is about Elijah, Shiloh, me, Liam, Daniel, Aaron, Faith, all being EDS people who have been failed persistently through this system and persistently abused by the system because of the condition that we live with, and also abused by people who refuse to believe us. People out there do it. How can you have EDS if you roller skate? How can you have EDS if you do this? How can you have EDS if you do that? Take a look at my knees, people. Welcome to my knees. It's slightly upside down for you. Let's rotate you. You want to spin? Let's rotate you just for the benefit of the camera on my knees. You getting out? Out or in? Oh, you want your knees? Your knees? Shiloh's knees? Aunt? Yeah, knees, yes. And Mummy's knees. This is Mummy's knees. That if you can see here, I have had quite a lot of surgery on my knees over the years. Because look. You ready? This is a normal turn for someone like me. You ready? You hear it? I don't know, where's my mic? So literally, all my knees, all my joints, for those that don't get it, sublocks, dislocate, yes, all of them this side, sublocks and dislocate, everything. Shiloh, you want to jump out? Yeah? And Shiloh here risks subloss already. So, yeah, so basically, if someone like me says that a psychological report or a medical report needs to be done by a specialist, we're then called grandeur and narcissists, because we believe that we are so superior that we can only be understood by a certain type of people. And that makes us a narcissist. And it makes us grandeur because we believe that we are entitled. Yes. So these things, yes, from people who don't have physical conditions, from people who have never actually known what it is like to have to overcome some form of real adversary in their lives. And that's usually people that are living quite a corrupt life, to be honest. People who are not living true to the Bible, because the devil don't give a shit about them people, mate. He's already got you. But basically, people who have physical conditions. So that's like going up to somebody who has Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a mutation in the 23rd or 24th chromosome. And it's no different than Williams syndrome, which is then a deformity in the 22nd chromosome. Now, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on this. But you can imagine somebody with Down syndrome, can't you? Now, if they say to you, hello, my name's David, and you say, hello, David, you not quite appear normal to me. Can I ask you what's wrong with you? And he says, there's nothing wrong with me. And you go, but hang on, there is something wrong with you because you look different. You are acting different. There must be something wrong with you. And he says, well, no, there's nothing wrong with me, but I have Down syndrome. So David's a lovely man, but he's born with Down syndrome. Now, Down syndrome is a lifetime condition that's going to stay all the way through to the day that they die. They will always be Downs. It ain't going to change. It ain't going to go away. The chromosome isn't going to come back. There is not going to be any mutation. Now, coming from somebody like me, can you visualize it? Can you change it? Yes, I have seen it happen. Yes, I have seen people like David with Down syndrome tell people that he's David. And it's their problem that sees the Down syndrome. He's just David. Yes, he has extra strengths. Yes, he's got particular needs. Yes, he has to have certain people around them. But David with Down syndrome can be David, unless he's around people that just see the Down syndrome. And if he's the Down syndrome person, then everybody sees his limitations. Everybody sees his, what's that? They bully you, for fuck's sake, gaslighting you with the past, even though... Yeah, but it's not even gaslighting you with the past. They're gaslighting you with false and fake information as well. So take somebody turning around to some David with Down syndrome. What are you trying to do, darling? More what, sweetheart? More balls? We haven't got more balls. That's somebody else's balls. You've got plenty of balls, and today you seem to have accumulated a few balls as well. But say somebody's saying to David, you don't have Down syndrome, you're just fucking ugly, right? You're a spastic, you're a mong. And David's going, no, I have Down syndrome. They're going, you're a mong. Yay! And David's going, no, I have Down syndrome. And they're going, you're a mong. David could feel quite upset because people are calling him a mong when he's trying to explain to people that he has Down syndrome and he has a chromosome missing within his body, and this is the way he is. He can't change it. He can't make it go away. He isn't going to wake up the next day and be a different David just because other people can't accept the chromosome default that he was born with. Some people with Down syndrome over the years have been kicked away from families. Some Down syndromes have been terminated. In fact, now it is at a point in our life in history where you can even be tested to see if your child is going to be defaulted with Down syndrome in order to terminate. Now, I was expelled. I lost a big paper at school, and it was in child development. And I'd been expelled from school. I was in foster care, and we had to write a magazine. And it was like we had to write a front cover of a baby magazine. And it was in 1994. So I was expelled from school in 1994, which was my final year of my sort of GCSEs. So I got expelled just after my mock exams, and funny enough, it was my history exam that I sat, and all of a sudden I got expelled after my history exam. One day I might tell you what I wrote for my history exam. But for my child development one, our final year was to write a magazine article. So my foster parent, Sue, who works actually at the college here and lives not far, and her husband is now a social worker, but they were my foster parents when I was in foster care at 15. Took me to go and meet a foster mother who had fostered a child with Downs. So I interviewed her, and I also interviewed mothers that had given birth to children with Downs, and I also interviewed adult Downs because obviously I had access to that through the lifestyle that I had as well. And I put a picture on the front page of this article, and I wrote about the mother's experience of bringing a child into the world having Downs, and also about the type from the Downs point of view, because in my terms it was, if you had Down syndrome then you pack bags in Tesco's, and I used to argue that actually I used to know people who had Down syndrome who were really talented, and people were not helping them sort of find this in them. And it's no different. So if you then go and do a psychological report on somebody said who has Downs, and you're all telling him that all he's worth is to go and pack bags in Tesco's, and he's trying to tell you that actually he wants to fly kites, he wants to fly a plane, and you're going, but you have Downs, you can't do this. Horse, whoa, here we go, guys. Me and Shiloh are going for some fun. Oh yes, here we go. This is what you miss. Me and my son in the middle of going absolutely nutty. Are we ready? And we've got Mummy on the other side with her busted pelvis using it as physio. Come on, Shiloh. So anyway, I'm the complete nutty, razy, maddy one because I actually have a personality. And unfortunately, we live in a world where people don't have personalities. And unfortunately, then you just get that you're borderline personality because you've battled with blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I feel all I can do is write this book. I've got to write this book. Am I going on that horse?
Yeah.
All right, you go. We switching horses. Come on, we're switching horses. You got the dead horse, have you? You try and knock that one. Ready? Seriously, everyone watches me out the window like a raving nutter. This is why we have kids, people. This is the whole point of having children. We have children so we can remain children, basically. So we can remain in our present state of joy. This is what children are about. Children are just bundles and bundles and bundles of fun and joy, and that is what they're meant to be. But unfortunately, we live in a world that suppresses that. Because, hello, honey, you okay? Yes, I'm breaking the law as always. Always. Do not conform to the ways of the world, but by the renewal of your mind. And my mind and heart says we're fine in here. No. Have a lovely day, honey. So, anyway. Oh, back on the horse. Here we go, back on the horse. So basically, I was feeling like as stiff as a brick this morning. So I've had to come out. Oh, seriously, I can't stand seeing people in these masks. Oh, I want to rip the masks off people and make them breathe. Please, people, breathe. Seriously, people are not educated by these masks. Let me tell you for one. If you see a carer walking out of a house with mask and gloves on, those masks and gloves are absolutely fucking pointless. Yes? I will tell you straight. Up at the hospital, all they do is hand sanitize. They do not wear masks. The only people who wear masks and gloves are people who are in isolation unit, where people are isolated. Everybody else around the hospital just safeguards and washes their hands. Back on the horse. I can speak from experience, from being married to somebody who worked in clinical surgery. Oh, you want me to come on the back with you?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. All right, I'm getting a ride. Come on then. Here we go. Oh no! Come on, Shiloh, you've got to do it. I can't do it myself. Oh, we're going a bit wonky donkey here. We're sort of falling off a bit. Watch your head because you'll nut it. We're going upside down a bit, aren't we? So, I don't know if my speaker's got me, but anyway, basically, people see me out here and then they can see me limping around and they don't quite get it. Do you know what it makes me? Fucking inspiration. And they hate it. Because what happens when people like me shine their light? More people shine their light. It's not about saying that we're not struggling. It's about people accepting where we are right now, because you can't turn around and say to somebody, oh, look, but John down the road, he's got no legs and you're whinging about pain in your legs. Well, I'm sorry that John down the road has got no legs, but the pain in my legs is very real, and I can't deal with my pain while everybody telling me that John down the road's got no legs. And I'm sorry that John down the road has got no legs, and I hope to God that John down the road has got no legs isn't being told that he's so fucking lucky, excuse my French, dude, that, you know, Pete down the road, he's actually got no arms and one leg, so you should count yourself lucky. We can't live like this. This is not the way to be living. You cannot constantly make people feel bad, and it's actually bad. What's the word? Bad communication and bad management. It's actually abusive. So, say like, okay, so for me, the rocket going off, was the day that I got my mind back. And why was it the day that I got my mind back? It was because I'd been talking about this rocket launch since 2009, 8. So 7. So since 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So since them times, I was talking obviously about the rocket launch and this Mars thing and all of that sort of stuff. So people are going, oh, yeah, it was all right when you were just talking about maybe making 50 quid, you know, an hour as a coach, but now you're talking about millions and billions and you've gone all a bit nuts and stuff like that. And the grandeur and all of this started coming in, and I think I'm so whatever because I can't learn about learning over 60,000 from somebody on an 18 grand salary who thinks they're teaching about business and has never actually sustained a business. So when you go to the job centre, you can be really, really lucky and you can find a mentor who's already established a business, or basically you're dealing with somebody who's never actually done it. So I went to find the people who'd done it, and that was people like Richard Branson, Alan Sugar, Tony Robbins, Donald Trump, all the people that were earning over 60,000. And not just earning over 60,000, I went to speak out the people, the highest earners basically. And I wanted to find out who was corrupt and who was genuinely serving. And what you actually tend to find, and this is where a lot of you people are getting it missing, the Bible never said that we weren't to prosper. The Bible never said that we were meant to survive. The Bible never said that we were meant to be poor and things. Now, people who truly understand the Bible are thriving. And that means that they're living in unlimited sources of wealth. And then the people who aren't hate this. But it's the true Christian walkers that are living in prosperous. And it's not about it being the prosperity. Let's put your thing in, the prosperity Bible. That's just teachers that are just teaching one subsection as the Bible. That's no different than me saying, hey, I'm going to give you a tutorial on fear. And I say to you, hello, my name is Kelly, and we're here today to talk about fear, false evidence that appears real. In the Bible states 365 times, do not fear. And I create a whole seminar and whole workshop on false evidence appearing real and how to overcome fear. Just because I've taken that one subsection from the Bible, it doesn't make me somebody who's whatever. It just means that my purpose from that Bible, my leaf from that Bible, was to teach people to overcome fear. Some people have gone out to teach about prosperity. And all of this basically it's all connected. It's all connected. How is this all connected? It's all connected because everything's connected. The sky, that building, yeah? That building there is no separate from the sky that it is above it, yeah? You know, just as we're not separate from the ground and my trainers that actually did survive the water. Shiloh's ones, unfortunately, not so much. Well, Elijah's one. But it is all connected because everything sits on a vibration. Everything sits on a frequency. we can be in depression, and we can be so sad, and we can be like so sad sex, and life is just so hard, and I'm like Eeyore, and everything is just a donkey, and I just have to carry my woes on my back, and my leg hurts, my knee hurts, and my hip hurts, and everything's really bad, and I just can't move. And we can just be in that place. Or we can say, fucking hell, seriously, my leg. And then it's people having a go at me for swearing around my children. I'm not swearing at my children, as people are implying. People have been implying online that I actually swear at my children. I do not swear at my children. Occasionally, I might tell somebody to fuck off, and I have to apologise to my children for swearing around them, as I do. Because I don't want my children to swear, and my children are aware. And the only time I am ever actually aggressive in front of my children is when I'm protecting me and my children. If I don't have to protect me and my children, you will not see me as a lion mother. I will be very happy, very very in tune with myself, very bubbly. I dance a lot, I get out, I celebrate a lot. I love to celebrate the small things, celebrate the little things. I'm even going to celebrate the fact that we come onto this park and got off the park without me being arrested, because that's a celebration in itself. I'm celebrating the fact that where we're living right now is very safe. Portsmouth's doing really well. Portsmouth's doing really, really well. Even the people that, aren't necessarily getting what's going on. We haven't got fires here. We haven't got people kicking off here. We haven't got things, and we're having the marches and the demos here. And we are, yeah. They're going on at Portsmouth. They're even making it into the papers. But people ain't fighting. People ain't picking up the bricks. People ain't smashing things up. People are actually talking to each other in a really civilised way about what's going on. I am having numerous conversations with people that the white supremacy, you, the racist that call them the black man, yeah? So if you are the person that sees black man, you are the racist. Deal with it, get over it, and welcome to the other side where we don't see colour and creed. People are people, and actually from the other cultures, and I put them out on the board the other day. I showed you Nigerian, Ghanaian, African, South African, West African, Nigerian, and actually there is a culture where they are called nigger. Yes, it is the true nigger. The nigger, they call them the central capital black of the niggers. It is not racist. It is a place, and it is a culture, and and Jamaican and Barbadian and all of these things where we, the white people, Liverpudlian, yeah, Mancunian, yeah, London, yeah. We have all of these different titles, labels and breeds, don't we? So it ain't just as simple as the white man and the black man, as Michael Jackson said. And it was Michael Jackson who said, it doesn't matter, there ain't no difference if you're black or white, if you're a boy or a girl. However, Michael Jackson had severe mental health issues, and he couldn't actually accept that he was a boy and black. Yeah, so don't fucking listen to somebody. And also, we don't know the truth about Michael Jackson at the moment, and here is a prime example. How would Michael Jackson feel if Michael Jackson is an innocent man, and it's just that he's dead that they're putting all of this on him, and he was trying to save the kids? But say Michael Jackson was walking down this road here, and he walked over to approach me. I'm going to treat him by who he is as a person, or by the rumours, or by the truth. But the thing is, we don't know what it is, do we? So how do we treat Michael Jackson walking up? And he says, can I take the kids to the park? So Michael Jackson turns up and has to take your kids to the park. Do you let him? Now this is how I feel. Now the difference is, I never abused my children. We have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and we were told that it was the easiest condition to claim to have. And that basically means that people look at me, that I would actually physically harm this little one here to sublux his shoulder and pull it out to take him up to A&E. And it also means I'm that deranged and that mad that I physically pull all of these out to fake it just for you. It also means that I'm that mad that I physically pull my knees for you. Yeah? I'm that mad. I am that deranged. I am that twisted and sick in the head. So, anyway, someone's going to edit that and go, Kelly says she's twisted and sick in the head. Look, you've got to work out how I talk. I'm an interventionist and I will mirror things for you and I will say things in a certain way. Someone said to me, how can you say some of the things that you're saying about the kids? I say, because I'm going to get to you. I'm going to make you realise all this time is being wasted. Doesn't matter whether it is Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is dead. But people's truth are people's truth, and we weren't there, and we can't say what this truth is. The world looks pretty beautiful around me. All right, people ain't exactly living to the best of their lives around here, and it isn't high vibration of fun. But at the end of the day, you know, they're not out here robbing people. There could be some crimes going on. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors, do we? But at the end of the day, the Bible said not to gossip, okay? So we've got to bring this back into the courts, guys. And the reason that we've got to bring this back into the courts is because we need facts, truth and evidence to back things up. And we need to bring in the amount of people, and through everybody's individual cases, the same names are going to keep coming up. The same names are going to keep coming up. We can't do this in the way that we're doing. We do need to all come together and do a visual. I'm not 100% sure you'll all come, and I can't put my leg out there for the sake that you don't. But look at the mass that they'll come out in some things. Yes, there are paid protesters, and that's why they come out. I will tell you 100%. Why do XR come out in the mass? They're paid protests. Not all of them, but the majority of them. Soros pays them, right? Why do people come out on these ones again? There are mass multi-billionaires that want you protesting, yeah? It's no different than paying you to wash their car. They are paying you to turn up and protest, and they are also actually paying people to turn up and be very violent at these protests in order to push it. It's fact, it's truth, and it's happening. You know, even people have gone too far in court and they've been arrested and they've been trying to prove that they were paid to do it, and then obviously they're finding themselves in challenging situations because then they're facing quite severe consequences, and they're trying to explain that it was a paid job, and they didn't really understand anything different about it or understand the cause that they were standing for. So anyway, the truth is the truth, but the truth is only your own truth, and nobody can heal from trauma if people are not understanding where somebody's come from, and it can take quite a lot of layers. So I'm really annoyed that yet again I'm having to go down this exact same service that I've had since I was 3 years old. I've had these psychological reports done on me since I was 3, and it will keep going, and this time it's getting dangerous. I don't know how it's going to go. Let's see, but I'm going to stay very visual all the way through it. I'm going to have people trolling, but I need to show you. Because if I go through this without, I'm going to be burrowed. I'm going to end up where Arthur is right now, with a needle in my ass, being sectioned, and everybody trying to convince me that I don't have EDS, that it is the easiest condition to claim to have, that I need to learn that Aaron and Faith were taken and I was an abusive mother, and not that I was ever actually accused of any abuse, and that, you know, and it's crazy because it's like, you know, they're taking away your whole truth, because we've got another side of this going on, that they don't want the little people rising up. They don't want you knowing that I'm a Lord's granddaughter. They don't want you, you know, they don't want all of these illegitimate children. That's what we are, basically, people. We are the illegitimate children of the Lord's, and this is what the problem is. And I don't think people really understand it. Why would Lord Pierce's family want me and my family to come forward? And because we were the maids that their dad shagged, basically. You know, why does all of the illegitimate children of the affairs that stumbled, that you got to look deeper, you got to go so much different. It's like, okay, let me just use an example before I go. Let's take Kentucky Fried Chicken for an example, okay? So let's take the Kentucky Fried Chicken, who's got the big story of the 9,000 no's of everything, of the greatest recipe of his life. He stole that recipe. That recipe was actually a really old woman and somebody had made it, and he took it and he wrote the recipe down and he ran with it. So he's a thief at the end of the day. That's probably not a good example of what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so then take Little Nana, and Little Nana's turning around and going, that was my recipe. Well, what happens to Little Nana when people don't want people knowing that actually this person out here that we all thought had this greatest recipe, which is actually really shit, and it's really bad, and standards are really shit. But, you know, what do they do to Nana? They make Nana go away. They make Nana disappear. You can only pay families off by 2 shillings for so long. Time comes around, years come around, people start getting annoyed, and you know, you can't cover certain bloodlines anymore that come from the original Mary Magdalene and Jesus's bloodline. You know, you can't cover that up anymore. So is there a pot of people that want to keep the lid on stuff? Yes, there is. Is there a pot of people that are doing really bad things? Yes, there is. The only way that we're going to truly find out how many people have been through sexual abuse is by opening the doors to the trauma therapy for the sexual abuse. You can't heal somebody who hasn't been through it. You can only heal those who have the trauma. So if I bring forward the trauma counselling for every person who's been through sexual abuse within the care system, I can tell you the difference between those in genuine trauma and those are faking a story. And if I've got an empty room and people do not want to be healed, then there ain't a big problem. If I've got a full room and I can turn around and go, whoa, hang on a minute, I got 10,000 people coming forward for sexual trauma. 10,000? Hang on a minute. And 1,000 of these have all got the same name. This is the way to do it now, and that's what I'm going to be pulling into. But in order to do it, I need space. I need to be able to fund. The fact that none of you are going to be paying me, it's not going to be done. I'm not asking anyone to pay. It's all got to be done for free. It can't be done at a cost. People cannot exchange money in here when it's dealing with trauma. It's not about it. So I'm going to have to get some funding from somewhere to be able to create the space for people to be able to come, and basically let's get that trauma. Let's get that trauma. And the only way we can get that trauma and then get the statements and then get the testimonies and then put them together, because this way ain't working. I've been telling you for a long time to go my way. You haven't listened to me because you haven't understood where my experience comes from, where my education comes from. I think I've earned longevity. I've been here 10 years now with you guys. You can't exactly not say that I'm not challenging Britain. I came to challenge Britain. I think I have created that, don't you? So Britain is certainly being challenged right now, and we have the chance now to let it all come up and go. But these are not the foundations that we want now. We don't want your shitty water. We don't want your shitty fucking veggies in your supermarkets anymore. We do want to come back to basics. Look at all of this around here that could be growing veg. Look. So you've got the flats there. I don't want to show it in, but there's a fence here in between my park and that. But look at all the vegetation that could be growing all the way around here. You know, and all of these different areas, and you know, all of the different places and all of the churches, you know. And so what if someone picks an apple off a tree and walks down the road and eats it? That's the way that we should be able to get to, and there's no reason why it couldn't be. We could have a bloody big apple tree. Like it. Oh, am I getting cut off? Oh, devil don't like it. Oh dear, tut tut tut. Trying to cut me off now, are we? Make a martyr out of me, mate. You make a fool of yourself. You'll expose yourself if you make a martyr of me. So I won't go there, really. The Lord's got a strap to my back, 100% and more. So yeah, you make a martyr of me, you reveal yourself. You abuse me, you show the world how people are treating people, because I'm not abusing you. I might come back at you. Sarcasm can be the lowest form of wit sometimes, but I know what I'm doing. But I'm not out here smashing things up. I'm not out here spreading drugs. I'm not out. What, sorry? You want to go home? Yeah, you ready to go home? Okay. And Daddy? Yeah, you ready to go home? Come on then. See, my son has said he wants to go home. You want to go home for food? Look at that mushroom haircut. I've got to learn to cut hair. I'm going to need to get ready. Let me just get you out. I need to get some clippers and cut my son's hair. It's not something I've ever had to do really, because the dads have always been the ones that have taken. Are you going to grab your ball? Have you got your putty? Where's the putty that we brought out with us? Oh, it's getting to the point I can take my jumper off. Are we going to go down to the sea today, guys? Are we going to see if we can get Daddy to come and be happy with Mummy for a bit? Because Mummy's a bit of a bitch. I suppose my expectations are a bit high. No, it's not. I'm an EDS mum. I'm an EDS person, and I just need to be around people that say I'm up here now. Yeah, it's just let me do what I've got to do. Just let me. And if all of a sudden, fuck it, seriously, if all of a sudden I'll decide that I want to run down the slide with my kids and jump, but say I just sprained my ankle there and I had to strap it, so what? So what if I've got to strap my ankles? So what if I've got to put a brace on my neck for a couple of hours? So what if I've got to do the hoovering and I've got to put some braces on? So what if I've got to put some braces on my knees? So what if, we're going out for a massive long day and I don't feel like I can walk it, and, I decide to use the electric chair that day? So what? So what? Whose fucking business is it anyway? So what? Problem is, I can't get out the gate. It's locked in. As if a fucking padlock's going to stop us. Oh, take that blue one as well, because that blue one's not going to get... No one's coming back for that because it's not a proper ball. It's lost its thing. Oh, there's the putty. You brought the putty out. Where's the actual stuff? Shiloh, where's the putty stuff? Oh, he's so good. It's in the tub, isn't it? He's so good. Yeah? Right, are we going to head back home? Over there. There. Anyway, here's the point. I'm meant to be moving in a couple of weeks, and what I'm saying to them is, you can't just stuff me in another 2-bedroom flat. You have to do a proper core assessment based on me, and they know that if they do it, it's going to mean... Bring the blue one for Elijah.
No.
Get the blue one for Elijah. No, you want to leave the balls on the park. Good for you. See, my son's honest. But the blue one was one off one of them bouncy things that nobody had taken. But look, he's even leaving the balls on the park because he knows they don't belong to him. No home now. So yeah, in order to do a proper core assessment of my needs, you have to actually believe what you're dealing with. So you can't say that I don't have slip discs. You can't say that, I need to be on my front door. Having a garden and stuff. So, yeah, and I'm happy to pay for it myself. But as here lays the struggle. How do I build relationships with people who can't work with me from where I am, and it becomes an inconvenience? So therefore, it's not wrong that I feel like an inconvenience, is it? It's actually true. So anyway, on that note, I don't want to be an inconvenience. My son wants to go off. What are you doing? Oh, we're not going off because Daddy and Elijah are in waiting to go out and have breakfast. We've sort of snuck out for a bit longer than we should have done. What do you want to do? Here you going. Anyway, guys, I've just got a fag that I want to finish. That's what I actually came out for. Can you believe that? Can you actually fucking believe that? Seriously, my stomach's going now. My stomach is going. This is what people don't get. This is what people don't get. I've literally just come off of the park, and even though the police have just gone past me, that is the police officer that assaulted me. Yeah, that one that was on the bike a minute ago. And you know, they come flying around the corner within seconds, and people can go, yeah, but as long as you're not doing anything wrong, what's really the problem? But for me, it's like, it's not like that, is it? It can be as simple as, why are you on the park? Well, I'm on the park because I've taken my son on the park. Yeah, but it's under quarantine. And I'm going, yeah, but there's people on the outside of here that my son's interacting, and there's nobody on the park. And they could go, and I could go, but hang on a minute, we are an EDS Asperger's family that actually should be given a time to come onto the park. And that's how it should have been. We should have been given an allocated time to have taken them on the park. So, anyway, see, now I've gone into, just because all of a sudden the police have just gone past me a thing, and it's great and it's fine. But that's what that's the trigger. That's the trauma. That's the trigger. That's the trauma. So, it's just thrown me. Just completely just fucking thrown me. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is to just completely throw me. And that's also why I'm not on the front line as well so much, because I would kick off. I would fight. And this isn't about fighting right now, is it? And there's nothing wrong with the police officers. Some of them are absolutely lovely, and bless his cotton socks, the one that did it to me, he has been reprimanded. My ICPC complaint was upheld, and he does try to interact with me every time he sees me, but they won't let me do what I want to do, and that is to go face to face with him, just like I want to with the people that took Aaron and Faith. I want to sit down and tell my story to them. I want to sit and show them where they came in and grabbed me, and where my life was up at that time, and what that did to me. Because if they had burgled my home, and they were not police officers and they were people, or if they had raped me under victim support, I have every right to face the people who abuse me and my children. I have every right to look them in the eyes and tell them what they did to me, and they can say sorry. But when it's a police officer and when it's a social worker, we're not getting this right. And this is what I'm going to make sure we get. And you're going to see it. I don't care how long it's going to take. I will shame them through my book. Yeah, it's going to happen one day. And you can't call me a weak person because I have trauma. Because to have your children dragged out of your arms and taken away from you after you have carried them in your womb, after you have nurtured them, breastfed every single one of my children, breastfed every single one of them. When you sleep with your children at night and you lay in your arms, and when you go through so much struggle and so much adversity to make sure that all of your children's needs are met, your children may not necessarily know what you're going through. Liam and Daniel, at the time when I divorced, they didn't know that I was selling my fucking body to go out and pay for their freaking school trips and trainers and things like that. They were too young. They didn't know. You know, so they did later. Obviously, my children know now. My children, I discussed it with Liam and Daniel before I went out in the media. And I said to them back in 2010, I said, if mummy goes in the papers, is that a paddling pool left for us or somebody's? That's someone's. No, leave that down. We've got to go across the road. I said to Liam and Daniel before I went out in the media, I said, look, when I go out in the media, there's going to be things thrown at me. There's going to be people that probably come out with things, even some people who, you know, might not even tell the truth about mum, and are you okay about this? So I made the decision to talk to them properly about things in my past, so they knew my childhood, they knew things. So when my book was coming out back then, before my family fought me and my ex back then fought me over it, I made sure that Liam and Daniel were aware, and I prepared them as well for when they went to school. And I said, you know, if you go to school, someone could say this to you, someone could say that to you. And I said to Daniel, I said, what are you going to do then if somebody sort of comes out and goes, your mum's a whore? Yeah. Do you know what my son said? He said, it's don't worry about it, Mum. If someone says that you're a whore, I'll just turn around and say, my mum said that your dad or your mum was their best client. And that's the sort of humour that my kids have. Anyway, I got baptised since then. I'm saved. But hey, we all have our journeys, we all have our walks, don't we? And I certainly do have a testimony to tell. I'm not saying that my path has been great, but when you're like me, coming out from I didn't have my mum and dad going out and making sure that I had a camera to take photographs from sunset, sunrise. I haven't had a mum and dad that, has made sure that I was going to my dance classes and getting better and stuff like that. They weren't ever thinking about who I would become. They were thinking about what they didn't want me to be, and that was to be a teenage mother. And that was pretty much all I ever had off my mum, was not to be a teenage mum. And I became a teenage mum. Jessica, as you know, was terminated by social services. And then I had Liam, a bit older. And so basically people see me as a mother of two children. So as a 42-year-old, that should mean that I'm balanced, my life is sorted, blah 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 blah. My life has crashed, and obviously restarting and restarting from scratch is not great. And I'm very grateful to live in a country that does have social housing, and I'm very grateful to live in a country that does bridge with social security. I would never not be, because there are countries, hence why a lot of people come to England, that don't have this system here. It was not government that set up this system. As with many other things, it was only ever started by one person that took things to a bigger level and then gets taken off, just like Father Christmas. Saint Nick was just somebody that helped out single mums. The children, originally it started because he paid somebody's mortgage off and he put the money down the chimney. And things grow. So, Shiloh, come on, dude. All the kids are coming out with the guns now. It seems to be gun time for all the kids. Anyway, before you go, I started watching a film the other day. It's called To Save Christmas or something like that. And it was right back, all in the years. And it was all just about joy to the world and joy on earth. And how depression and the gloom came over and took over the spirit and things. Yeah, we do have to go back, darling, because... Yeah. Yes. We've got to go and get Daddy and Elijah. Do they want to go to the beach? We're going to go and get our swimming stuff to go to the beach. Oh, I'm going to go, darling, because he wants to stay out and I've got to get him in. So... Tell you what, them bloody police saying, they just turn up right at... and it's like... Do you know what annoys me? It's like they just let me know that they're there. It's like they just want to say, you know that paranoia that we all think Kelly's got. We just want to just make sure that we just circle. We just let them know that actually... that we are here and we are around, and if she steps forward, we are going to pull her down. But what annoys me is there is no way out of this system without bolting from it, just walking away from it. And obviously it didn't really work for Harry and Meg, did it? But there is no way to just hand over my keys, get in my car and go. But you can't do that in this country. And the thing is, what really annoys me is every social worker loves it. They think it's brilliant. They're like, yeah, what a great idea. But the reality of me doing it, it's another thing, innit? I don't know. Maybe it's all in my mind. Who knows? Maybe it's my own barriers. Maybe it's my own fears. Or maybe it really, 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 really is the fact that there is a control and a real force. Or maybe everybody just trying and trial and erroring. And because there's just so many of us, we just can't please everybody. And maybe police did get up to try to make people's lives better, to protect people from crime, to make sure places like this are not riddled with drugs, are not riddled with needles, and not riddled with crime. Who knows? It's all about perception and thought, isn't it? It's all about our own perception. But do not conform to the ways of the world, but by the renewal of your mind and your own heart. So, but who says I know anything, eh? I know fuck all. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who's going to save your soul. And if he doesn't save your soul, mate, you're all going to a really nasty place. So, anyway, I'm about to enter into another storm. Let's see how it goes. Am I going to actually come out with the right, actual, correct help? EDS website, it will should go. My battery's going to go, guys. So I will catch you later.